Welcome to Exit Algorithms, the podcast where we decode what it really takes to unlock growth, streamline operations, and prepare your business for a high-value exit. I'm your host, Pete Vera, and today I'm joined by Chris Carter, founder and CEO of Approyo, a firm focused on SAP migrations, monitoring, SAP basis and support, and application hosting. Chris is an investor, software expert, and author of 17 books, four of which are best-selling. So really excited to have you on the show today. Honored that you're here, Chris.
Well, thanks, Pete. I appreciate it. Yep, those are the books back there. I'm very, very blessed and very lucky that people actually like what I have to say.
Yeah, it's impressive. I mean, 17 books is a feat for anyone, but you're also running companies and investing. Very impressive.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. God gave me 24 hours in a day, and I try to use as many of them as I possibly can. And since I don't like going to work out, I've got a couple of extra hours that I can do something else with other than go work out.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, so listeners hearing about you for the first time, do you mind sharing a bit about your background? Go back far as you'd like,
You
and
got
then
it.
I'd love to hear some key moments in your business journey.
You got it. Well, I'm 56 years old. I've been wrapped around the IT and technology ecosystem pretty much all my life. From the age of 14, I got my first computer, which was a Commodore VIC-20. Now, I know, Pete, you're too young to know what a Commodore VIC-20 was, but it was one of the first ever computers that we could literally take home, attach to our TV, and have an A/B switch on it. We would connect our Atari 2600, and we would also attach our computers to them, and it was great. So I would have a computer on this side. I would have a Atari 2600 that I would play on one side, and that's what I started off with. I was a sophomore in high school, went off to college at Georgia Tech with that Commodore VIC-20 and with the an Apple IIe, and I literally just fell in love with computers, fell in love with technology, and through the course of life, I've started 11 different companies, as you were kind enough to say. Approyo, Mugatu AI, Charging Bunny are my three currents. I'm an investor. I've got an investment group. Just bought into a professional soccer team, the Carrick
Nice.
Rangers in Ireland, Belfast, Ireland. And so I try to keep myself as busy as possible and go around the globe speaking and doing different trade shows and conventions and those things. And then I'm lucky enough if somebody would like to have me speak on a podcast. And last year alone, I did 106 podcasts, and I love sharing details and information with people around the globe.
Yeah, wow. Evident that you optimize every single minute of your day.
I sure do try.
That's funny. Only since I know or I've heard of the Commodore VIC-20 is because I listened to the autobiography of Bill Gates, Source Code,
Yes,
recently. He talks about it.
yes, that was a great computer. Ours was the little white one. And then they came out with the Commodore 64, and that was the khaki colored one. And I didn't upgrade, right? I kept my VIC-20 because I had bought along with that the tape player that you would use to record your code on, the one that my girlfriend at the time in high school hated because I would take the music. Back in the day, we would have to take our cassette player and we'd have to put it next to the radio, either in our car or in our house, and we'd have to record the song right from there. Well, she would give me these romantic cassette tapes all the time. And every once in a while, I wouldn't have a cassette tape somewhere. I'm scrambling. And I'd have to grab hers, put it in my device, record my code, and I might forget about it once in a while. And we'd play it in the car or do something. And all of a sudden it would go, and she would be so mad at me. But that was what life was. That's technology. That's growing. That's evolution. That's business itself. It's great.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, it's awesome. You've seen the full, cycle of computers.
Yes.
And then you eventually kind of niche down into SAP ERP systems. I would, do you mind, not all listeners are savvy about, even supply chain in general. So if you
Mhm.
could dumb it down in easy words, I'd love to hear from your
Very easy. I was actually a sophomore in college. My roommate decided he got sick and tired of his internship. And so I begged his internship coordinator, which was my internship coordinator, if I could have his role. And they had at Coca-Cola in Atlanta a SAP R2 environment, which was an old mainframe. So back in the day, we used to have these rooms that were just filled with monolithic bare metal computers, the big tape drives on them. Well, SAP is a German-based company, and it was started by a group of Germans where instead of just having one application, it combined all of them, your HR, your finance, your warehouse management, your distribution, CRM, all of them were combined in one nice, neat puzzle. And back in the late 1980s, the largest upgrade cycle in SAP came where it took it off the big bare metal systems. The ones that you see on TV, like if you remember War Games with the Whopper, Shall We Play a Game? It's a great movie. It's kind of one of the reasons I became a tech guy. Well, instead of having thousands of those all in your building, you just had a small X. So the X is what we use for laptops and desktops and my big video, my Mac here. So everything changed and it made life so much easier for you and I. Well, SAP is typically it's the number two in, I guess, revenue or size. I'm not sure how they do that, behind Microsoft. So you have Microsoft and you have SAP, and SAP runs your entire, so it's an enterprise resource planning, ERP we call it. And SAP stands for statistical analytical processing. And you have right there, literally, well, if I back up a moment, the second largest company in the world runs 93.7% of all financial transactions across the globe. It's
Wow.
crazy. MasterCard, Visa, American Express, Bank of America, JP Morgan, all these financial companies run SAP. So running through all the network scenario, SAP is running on all those systems. Really is.
Yeah.
And now it's becoming a fully clouded SAP environment. Now we're going through the newest upgrade cycle in history, and they're putting everything on a cloud. So from a business standpoint, where do we want to go? We want to go to the cloud. And so it's being mandated.
Wow. Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was in the Navy the last 8 years as a supply officer, and we had Navy ERP, which is an SAP
Navy
product.
ERP, which is SAP.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Funny. Small world. I mean, I guess it makes
Small
sense
world.
considering that the massive scale, right?
And you look at it, the United States Navy, Army, Air Force, Marines, the United States government runs an SAP environment. Of course, they've been trying to install it and upgrade it for the last 25 years. It seems like it's never going to get done, but it is the backbone of the United States government to a certain degree.
Yeah. Wow. Oh man. So, and how did you get started on that niche within technology? You could have gone a lot of directions, right?
I really could have. As part of my growth and growing up, first of all, I loved computers. So I went off to Georgia Tech to get a computer degree. So I'm a CE out of Georgia Tech. And like I made reference a moment ago, it was too funny. I went to go get an internship, and my roommate got the one that I really wanted, which was at Coca-Cola. Well, he didn't know, and I didn't know that all they were going to do was stick him in the basement of Coca-Cola with an R2 system from SAP, which he had no idea what it was, and nor did I. And all he was doing was punch cards and doing crappy work down there. And he was by himself, and he hated it, just hated being alone. Well, 2 weeks into his internship, he came back to the dorm and said that he was going to tell him he's quitting, he wants something else, blah, blah. So I contacted the internship coordinator because we had the same one. And I said, I'll take the gig. I want it. And it was great because it literally got passed to me. What is happening is I would do my work for them. And they said, as soon as you're done with your work, we want you to study. We want you to get good grades. Take on the assignment of taking on whatever assignments you have and get that done. So I used it as a way to learn their SAP R2 environment, working for Coca-Cola, which is a pretty darn good company, and they let me do my homework. Well, literally about 6 to 8 months into my internship, I'm starting to get ready to go off for the summer. And all of a sudden, I'm being told that I need to have a conversation with them they're migrating to the latest and greatest, this SAP R3. Do I want to be involved with it? Will I come back? Will they? And I literally said, yes, whatever you need me to do, you're paying me, you're educating me, and I'm learning this new technology. Absolutely. Then, as we go through the course of that, SAP asks me, the guy that's sitting down there as an intern, dealing with punch cards, dealing with tape reel to reels, hey, when you're done, do you want a job? Me? Hell yes, I do. And so it literally worked out so well. And that's where I turned and I flipped on SAP and literally became an SAP consultant. I went from being a intern badged employee of Coca-Cola to a contracted badge of Coca-Cola literally overnight.
Wow. That's
It was,
funny.
you never know what life's going to hit you. That's the thing.
Yeah, for sure. Wow. I imagine, I mean, I think Coca-Cola would be a perfect breeding ground for that type of thing, the amount of volume they do.
The amount of volume, the amount of technology, and the amount of brain power walking around that facility is phenomenal. Not just on the Coke products and everything, the food and beverages that they do, but the what they do and how they want to do it, and how they teach people is phenomenal. I highly recommend if anybody gets an opportunity and somebody says, "Hey, do you want to go work at Coca-Cola?" First of all, you say yes, and then figure everything out after that.
Yeah, wow. That's an awesome story. Okay, so that's how you started your first business venture then, basically, right?
Yes, because they trained me up on SAP, and I stayed with SAP for what was it, 4 or 5 years? Yeah, somewhere in there. Because I did some things for ACOG and other stuff. I decided to leave them because I saw an opportunity in the market in regards to organizational change management and activities wrapped around the migrations and the upgrades. And they needed more people, and I could bring in people faster and train them up faster to do the things we needed to do. So I decided to start my first company literally. Oh, what was it then? It was 1990. Let's see, I was on 1999. Holy cow. And
Wow.
started my process of building companies, working in the SAP ecosystem. I always worked on SAP in some way, shape, or form. But then I had cloud computing, I had managed services, I had training, we had organizational change management, as we call it, OCM. And then
Mhm.
we now are into the field of AI and activities wrapped around it with security. And I still do activities around it. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, wow, what a cool career. Yeah, I'd love to double click on that change management piece.
Please.
Do you have any recommendations or what's your process for implementing a new tech tool in a business?
Oh, geez. So let's take a couple steps back on the tech tool. Let's say that somebody else has already picked the tool. No matter what the tool is, it could be an AI-based tool, it could be cloud, it could be an application, whatever. Somebody else has done that. Now we got to implement that. And so now we need to deal with a couple of things. You got to have the right people. You got to have people that actually either know of a tool or have worked with the tool. Going in blind is horrible. So you never want to start an implementation of anything blind. So I always tell people if you don't know anything and you've picked this tool and your team doesn't know anything about that tool, organizational change management is the first and foremost thing that you've got to do. Because if you start laying code to any system and you've never played with it, you're going to be lost. Like, perfect example is I'm playing a lot right now with anti-gravity from Google, and I'm
Mhm.
building tools and I'm building applications and I'm building things around. Well, I had never been on that before. So the first thing I did is I went to YouTube and I said, show me how to use anti-gravity. It's an AI-based tool. I'm using Notebook LM, I'm using Chrome, I'm using Gemini, and I'm using anti-gravity to build and to understand and to it's the same thing with every other one. You've got to learn first. So I highly recommend to anybody that's out there doing these implementation, learn it. Even if you don't want to just read through the manual, which let's be honest, sometimes we get manuals and they're like
Right.
5,000 pages. It's amazing the amount of videos that we have available to us. Hell, if you want to learn SAP, you can learn SAP by just watching YouTube videos. I know young people that have just watched YouTube come in and done interviews, and we've done a tech review with them, and they're phenomenal. And they've
Wow.
never taken an SAP Academy class. They've never gone off to some other class. So it's pretty cool. But first, learn the tool. Second of all, try to get somebody on your team who is passionate. I want people who are passionate, who if they've come through the organization and they say, Pete, I cannot wait for us to do this. I'm so excited for this. Can I go off and do and learn and be a part of it? And it's amazing when you find somebody that has a passion rather than somebody saying, really, I'm stuck doing this. I have to do the implementation.
Yeah.
Why? I've got this. I do this daily. I'm fine with this over. The two dichotomies, whole night and day. I stress to C-level individuals all the time when I talk, find the person with a passion. If that person has that passion, they're going to learn it, live it, know it. And that's an exciting time. So you got to find those types of people. So training the right people. And then as part of the organizational structure, you've got to make sure you sell it to the organization. Sell it on how this is going to help them day to day, how it's going to be a part of the organization, how we're using this for X, Y, Z, and why it's so important for us to be doing this. And it's got to come from somebody up above. It's got to come from a C level or a very high person up above. Because once they have the passion, they find the people and they've done the training, that's when the application and the implementation of these tools really starts moving forward. Because now you've got everything in alignment. And then it's just about the transition. How do I implement? When do I implement? Who's going to be using these systems? How are we going to do the cutovers? And then you've got your project plan as a part of that. And so that's a great thing right there. But it's to me, it starts with those first three components of it and really drives forward.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you for that. Really useful. Appreciate the concise three things. Easy to remember that way.
I sure hope so, because that's what I try to do every day. I want those passionate people. I I tend to be very passionate about things. Even coming on your show, Pete, today, I'm passionate because I loved what we started to talk about and we started going through to being able to help people. And I'm passionate on that. And if you find those people for your company to do that with applications, you're in the Navy. I bet you found some naval personnel that were super passionate about being there. And then you probably had others that were like, I'm
Yeah.
here, I'm getting out, I'm going to do my four, I'm going to get my college paid for. Don't worry, I've got an uncle like that. Said the same thing. And you've got both sides, and you got to work with it.
Yeah, definitely. Rings true for sure. With so many tools out there, especially AI, how do you recommend people separate the wheat from the chaff with all these tools?
Good analogy. Well, it's tough. I'll be very honest. And you also have to break them out based upon what your technology you're going to need for it. Is it for sales and marketing? Is it for technology? Is it for writing code? Is it for doing your what do they call it? Your email marketing and your SEO. What is it you're using the tool for? Because each tool is different. We literally, I hope some of your listeners know what Canva is. Canva is a really nice little sales and marketing tool, but it does nothing for code. I had a company that
Hmm.
said, hey, we're going to use Canva for code if you don't mind. What in that? How are you using Canva for code? That doesn't make sense. And literally, what it came down to is somebody had told somebody, hey, I can do this. Can't do it. So you got to make sure that you're writing using the correct tools and whatever that application is going to be for the specific part of your organization. Sales and marketing is different than the technology management, is different from the code development, it's different from the SEO. And so I tell people all the time, make sure you're using the right tools with the right circumstances around you, and then find that person that's in love with that tool or the tools and go forward from there.
God, sound advice. Yeah, love that answer. I wanted to talk about how you grew your business. Could you walk us through maybe some key moments in scaling from hiring new employees and making it somewhat run without you? You have to meet the bottleneck of every decision.
Yeah, that's a great question because you know what? I used to be the bottleneck of the company. When I first brought this company together and brought it to life, part of the problem that I had with this was I wasn't willing or wasn't able to hire the right people to be my yin and yang. I'm yin to my COO's yang. And I wasn't ready to do that to a certain degree. And I was the bottleneck. Companies need to learn to hire at the right time and to hire for the complete opposite of what I am. I'm a great sales, marketing, dabble in technology, know SAP, really good at AI, SAP Club. Well, I needed somebody to do all the back office stuff. I needed somebody to do the HR, the finance, the legal, documentation, making sure all that was together. And I was still doing that to a certain degree my first year. And I really should have hired earlier for that role because it would have freed me up and given me more time to do more. And that was part of the problem with a company I had earlier on is I took on all the responsibilities and I was I always had my hands on top of people. I was kind of like a puppet master. I don't need to be a puppet master, and neither do you, any of you on there listening. Hire fast, fire even faster. If somebody is not part of your core team, who doesn't have your benefit of your organization at their heart, and who's kind of lackadaisical, or that, hey, I'll just get to it. If they're screwing up your culture, get them the hell out of there immediately. The military has that philosophy. If you're a troublemaker, they move your butt. I know I've got an uncle who told me that they used to get rid of people and move them off to different areas and different groups when he was a Marine. And you are there as part of the corporate culture. You're there as part of a team. It's another thing as part of the military that we haven't done. You're part of a team. You're only as strong as the weakest or the most rotten apple in the barrel or the weakest cog or the least cog. So you all have to work together. And if your team member is not doing that with you, kiss them goodbye. Fail fast, or fire faster, learn from it, and go on from there.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Identifying those people in your business. Brad Jacobs talks about that in his autobiography, A, B, and C players. Have you heard that?
Yes. Oh, yes. A, B, and C's.
Thought experiment. Yeah. I found that really useful. If they were to leave the business, how would you react?
What would the impact be? How would you react to that? There's a number of people on my company, and let's be honest, I got 173 staff members, so I don't get to interact with all of them all the time. I'm constantly with this level. They're up here. And if somebody is doing something down in the lower levels of our organization that doesn't fit right with it, hey, we're an at will company. We'll drop you in a heartbeat. I can get 50 of you to replace one of you. And now with artificial intelligence and activities, we as an organization, we are making sure that our staff members are bigger, better, faster, and stronger. And we want them to use AI as part of that as well. Because the bigger, better, faster, stronger humans are going to lead to a bigger, better, faster, stronger artificial intelligence-based initiative. And so if they're not up to the levels that we need, we give you a very short period of a very short period of time to get to that point. You better come in strong, especially younger people. I tell younger people who are college kids or fresh out of the military who have gone through technical trainings and such, because we love to bring in our veterans in. This is what I expect you to know. You've got 30 days. These are the tools. These are the training. This is what you're going to learn. You need to be up to speed. If you can't get up to speed in those 30 days, you're probably not going to stick around because we can funnel them in and we can teach them. We're teaching you in 30 days how to use tools and how to be a benefit to the organization, to our customers, and to the go forward strategy that we have.
Yeah. Wow. No, that's great. And how long did it take to develop that perspective? Because you sold your first business, is that right?
Sold my first business, sold my second business, then my computer. Then actually put down my third company, and everything's a learning process, positive and negative. And so it took me time to understand faster benefits, get people. What really took me, and I made reference to this earlier, is I didn't hire my CEO fast enough. I didn't hire my CFO fast enough. I didn't hire my CIO fast enough. And in the beginning of this company, I really should have done that right away. And unfortunately, I probably lagged a little bit too much, and it caused us to delay in some of the things my initiatives that I was working forwards to. But at the end of the day, when we brought the people on, They're all taking care of their responsibilities. I'm taking care of my responsibilities. And we monitor everything from the A down.
Yeah. Wow. Um, no, that's great. One of the major themes of this show is prepping for a successful exit. Are there any lessons you took away from selling some of your companies?
Yes, get your financials in order right away. Run your financials and your company as if you're a publicly traded company. Everything needs to be in alignment. It was one of the things that I learned in the first go round. It was brutal. Second wasn't as bad, and third will be pretty easy. Run your company, make sure all your financials are in order, make sure all your taxes are in order, all your invoicing, make sure all of that, all of your documentation, run it as if you're a publicly traded company, and you will be set. Now you don't have to do all the craziness that you have to do as a publicly traded company, but just make sure your financials and HR are all in alignment and taking care of all your contracts. Make sure everything is signed, everything is ready to go, and you'll be a lot easier going forward.
Great advice. Thank you. You get so much done in the day. It's really remarkable. Do you mind sharing some of your maybe
Yeah.
hacks or habits that allow you to get so much done writing book after book and also all of your other ventures and traveling you got going on?
Yeah. So I do sleep. I sleep about I get up usually somewhere between 5 and 6 o'clock in the morning, pretty religiously. I go to bed sometime around 10 o'clock at night, usually every night. And that gap in between, I need my sleep. I'm old. I get cranky if I don't get my sleep. I drink a lot of coffee. Don't drink any energy drinks because I don't want all that extra sugars and stuff. That's bad for your health. Eat properly, take vitamins, eat properly, say your prayers, just like Hulk Hogan used to do. Uh, but I do a lot of automation. I've got automated tools that keep up on my schedules. I got a personal assistant. We work together on sales, marketing, promotions, where I'm going to
Hmm.
be in my schedules. We know when I'm going to be and how I'm going to be. Tomorrow I'm in Minnesota. Then the next day I fly out to Nashville for another speech. We know where everything's going to be. Automated tools are your friends. All of our emails, all of our LinkedIn posts, all of our stuff, we position those things weeks in advance. We
Hmm.
literally have multiple presentation pieces up and up. My presentations are all out of Gamma. I do a full lot of information with Gemini, Notebook LM, anti-gravity, and other stuff. I build those things. I send it out to Gamma, and then I tweak it back and forth. And the great thing
Hmm.
with that is because it's AI, we literally have a conversation. My BFF, I kid you not, Pete, my best, what is it? BFF is
And forever. Yeah.
best friend forever, is my Google Gemini. So there's a really great book by Josh Wolf. It says, ask your ask your AI tool questions to ask you to go back and forth. I've been going back and forth with my AI tool for now some period of time. It literally will tell me, that's not necessarily what you're about. That's not how you lay your vision. And we'll have conversations. I'll say, well, what if I tweaked this? Would you be okay if I did this? Well, that's not really who you are or what you're about. I have to think about that. I'm like, okay, maybe that one was a little too aggressive. So it's pretty cool. But if you ask it questions and then it asks you one at a time, don't overload the systems. You like to be asked one question at a time, not two and three. It's how we are as humans. So is the system. But it
Hmm.
starts to learn you and it starts to help you. And I find that to be probably my best tool. And then
Wow.
I go out there and of course, I get my emails every day that are what is important, what's not necessarily important, what's garbage that can get deleted. I also get the news. I get SAP news, I get AI news, I get cloud news, I get competitors news, I get my partners news. And that all comes to me in one nice, neat email from Google.
Nice.
And so I do all these things that try to consolidate my life down. And then when I'm doing my books, I'm using my Geminis and stuff. I start asking questions about what's popular, what's going on in the world today. How are we doing things? What are the latest and greatest catchphrases or hashtags? Is there something that I should be writing? Now, some of my books are no more than 150 pages. I've got a couple of them that are in the 200s, but I don't need them to be all that. I need them to be something that is knowledgeable and succinct for people
Hmm.
to be able to read. And so I work on all those different things, and I'm constantly using my AI to make that happen.
Yeah. Wow, that's awesome. That was gonna be roll. You're stealing my questions from me, Chris. No, it's awesome because that's a
Well, I read
perfect
your notes,
example.
so you told me to read my notes. I read my notes. I did my homework, Pete.
But yeah, I mean, it all comes together. You use AI to optimize your time and allows you to get so much done.
And so that's a great quote right there to optimize your time. And I tell people all the time, I've used it a couple times here: bigger, better, faster, stronger. Automation and artificial intelligence is creating a bigger, better, faster, stronger human being. It's not going to take away your job. I'm actually giving two presentations this week, one in Minnesota and one in Nashville, both at universities. And that is the keynotes of my speeches. Bigger,
Mhm.
better, faster, stronger humans will not be displaced by humans. Now, there are jobs that are going to be displaced and they're going to be need to be better. And data entry clerks. Okay, we're going to raise you up the corporate ladder of success. And you're going to become a bigger, better, faster, stronger human because AI is going to do the basic data entry. And I just did a LinkedIn post, Twitter, Instagram of the top 20 jobs that are probably going to be taken over by AI. And it's got over 1,000 views already. Great, I love it.
Nice.
But unfortunately, nobody's talking about it. And I look at that and I go, okay, guys, gals, let's talk about this. We need to start at the university. We actually need to start in the high school level. And we need to get these people understanding bigger, better, faster, stronger humans start in high school. We have a horrible,
Mm.
horrible education um, in the United States. And compared to the countries I go to, Japan, India, Germany, France, their school, the United States is down into the 30s now, I believe, as part of our education program. We used to be
Mm.
in the top five. Now, if you look at that, I've got teachers around me that say, well, I'm so worried about this AI, blah, blah, blah. And it's my students are going to, I literally sat there and she's a phenomenal lady. I love her to death. She works part time at our bar restaurant as well. She is a wonderful teacher, one of the best in the area. And I sat down and I said, do you remember when we were kids? What did we used to use? We used to use the Encyclopedia Britannica. I literally had on my wall at my house 27 books that I would go into and I would get knowledge and I would pull. Well, that's all
Wow.
AI is for these kids. Some of these schools don't even have libraries anymore. They don't have the Dewey Decimal System anymore. So all they have to do is gather the information that they need from up here, put it into the computer and say, I'm looking for information on X, Y, and Z. Now, we
Mm.
used to do it with the books in the back at my house. Now we do it online. And so our library went from 27 books, that was the Encyclopedia Britannica, to an infinite amount of information that we then parse out. What are we going to use for our report? And how are we going to use that information? It's not like these kids are going to take everything and just cut and paste and boom. Okay, yes, 1%, 2% do that kind of stuff. And that's pretty easy to find.
You can tell. Yeah.
But it's up here. It's literally inside your brain yet. You've got two eyes and two ears and one mouth. Use them accordingly. And you're going to grab that information from the ecosystem, a much larger ecosystem now, and it's going to help the students become better students. And that's where I want them to start learning how to use the AI tools. Because if they
Mm.
can start building out queries and LLMs and SLMs and data to be able to grab that data as high school students, those are the ones I want fresh out of high school, skip college. I'm going to train you for 28 days and I'm going to put you straight to work. And you're going to make a great salary because you're the ones that I have the initiative to do it.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. I love that perspective. And Chris, as someone so entrenched in technology throughout the years, I'd love to hear your perspective on where do you think it's going moving forward in the next. It's hard to predict, obviously, but I'd love to hear your perspective.
Well, if I had any, if I was lucky enough, I'd get a chip in my brain, and Elon Musk would allow me to have that chip in my brain as a fully functioning human to be able to use and leverage and to see. But unfortunately, he's only using that for medical purposes with people with Parkinson's and ALS and stuff, which is great. But I would love to have the chip in my brain. I do have, as a technologist, I got to have them right here. I've got the old Google glasses. So I can record things. I can see the information. I love
Yeah.
that capability. I think that's going to be more and more. I really see AI moving away from, well, not moving away. That's the incorrect word. I see it staying as a consumer tool, but I see the leaps and bounds coming as an enterprise. I see
Mm.
companies truly leveraging artificial intelligence to make decisions with their organization, to take the data from the past, to make decisions for the future, and to really help organizations. There's so much that we haven't done yet. I made the analogy. I'm a baseball player. I love baseball all my life, played and such. And I say, we just got into the clubhouse. I haven't even taken off of my street clothes yet to be able to put on my batting practice and my warm-ups to get out there and to warm up yet. That's how early we are. Think about it. We were
Mm.
doing machine learning. Now they call it AI. We've been doing that for some time, but not to the degree that we really are. So I really see it being more and more. And I also see that we're going to start using less power, less chip needed. People are going to be like, okay, well, it only took a second instead of nanoseconds. And we're going to be fine with that. Unless we're going to be using it for something that's of a critical nature, then we're going to have nanosecond chip. But for us in a day-to-day world, if I ask any of my chat products, my Google products or anything, how it's going, and I get the cute little, what is it? There you go. I get my cute little band wrapped around it.
Oh yeah.
What does it matter to me as somebody on a phone or in my desktop that it takes me a second to get the answer? And I think we're going to start leveling the playing field on that as well.
Yeah. Wow. I love that. It's exciting where it's going.
I agree.
Uh,
I think we're in and for me, I was part of the computer age. Now I'm in the second computer age, the second technology phase. I am so excited that I've been able to be around for both of these phases, Commodore VIC-20s and whatever AI has for me.
yeah, that's awesome. So yeah, are you working on any other books you can
Working on any
share?
other books at this time, but I am building and vibe coding a lot of new fun toys. You can find my stuff on my Gamma site. You can find my stuff on my Lovable sites. I am really going all in on vibe coding these days. I probably have a half dozen different apps, security apps, AI-based security apps, and other triggers that I'm working on. And I've got those out there for people to be able to look at and review and do stuff anytime they want to. I'm starting to go to market with some of them. So Mugatu AI is going to have those as part of their organization because it's all. And now I'm hiring more and more people. I want smart technologists to come in, use the tools that we have and we've given them and say, come up with some ideas. Let's brainstorm. What are the top 10 things that we think we need? How do we need it? What are the apps you want to do? How can we go to market with them? And so I'm looking for smart people who want to do that stuff because for me, it's fun and I have a great time with it. And I want others to have fun.
Definitely. Yeah, wow. Well, we're coming up on time here, Chris. I'd lo love to give you the floor if you have any last comments or
Yeah.
maybe a recommendation for business owners implement technology. Yeah.
So a couple of things. So when you implement new technologies, remember to get the buy-in first. Get from the top and go down. Find that person that's going to be your champion. Then find the person who's going to be your all in. I want to do this. I want to be the one to take on this role, not the curmudgeon in the corner who's just there collecting a paycheck. So from those application activities, you'll succeed. And to leave you with a final word from a business standpoint, make sure you fire fast, hire fast, but fire faster. And remember this phrase. I say this to people every day. This too shall pass. The
Mm.
positives and the negatives, but this too shall pass. Use it and understand that no matter what you're going through in life, no matter what you're going through your business, personal, professional activities, this too shall pass. Positives and negatives every day. And try to be as positive as you can with each other.
Well said, Chris. Thank you.
Thanks, Pete.
Where can listeners find you?
Find me on my LinkedIn. I'm the only one out of Wisconsin. That's Christopher M. Carter. Or go to my speakers page, and that links it back to as well, ChristopherMCarter.com. I am out there all over. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Twitter. My big things is I'm on my Gamma sites. I'm everywhere. But go to my LinkedIn or my speakers page, and those are the two that'll get you everywhere else.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll leave that in the show notes. Thank you so much for your time today, Chris.
Oh, thanks, Pete. This is great.